17 years ago, President Bush got the news as he visited an elementary school. Terrorists had attacked the United States. It was one of the most tragic and shocking days in American history. Today, the nation remembers.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Stephanie Mendez.
And I'm Adan Contreras. The entire country is remembering the tragic day 17 years ago when terrorists attacked the country.
19 al-Qaeda hijackers took over the 4 airlines. They flew 2 into the Twin Towers in New York, 1 into the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., and the 4th into a field in Shanksville, Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people were killed that day. Others died later as a result of the attack and first responders exposed to harmful toxins in rescue missions.
Today, the Las Cruces first responders gathered at NMSU this morning to remember the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
This is the first time that the town has held its 9/11 memorial on campus.
Can you see?
The ceremony started with the posting of the colors and the singing of the national anthem. It was the first time that the Patriot Day ceremony was held on the NMSU campus. And most NMSU students were just babies when it happened. That's why Lieutenant Colonel George Wesley Child says these remembrances are so important.
The further we're able to look back, the clearer we're able to look forward. So remembering things like this are a great way to, one, tie generations together.
But no one remembers the day like Las Cruces Police Chief Patrick Gallagher. He's from New York City, and 17 years ago, he was a captain on the New York police force.
Ladies and gentlemen.
It was a beautiful sunny day just like today is, happened to be a Tuesday just like today is. And in a few short hours, the world turned upside down. And still to this day, I'm angry that it happened. Still don't understand the cause for it. And I think it has to serve as a reminder that we have to conduct ourselves in such a manner that it doesn't happen again.
Las Cruces, New Mexico is almost 2,000 miles away from New York. However, police officers and firefighters here remember the day like it was yesterday. It didn't just affect the people in New York, it affected all of America.
They are our brothers and sisters, those who perished, and those firefighters and those police officers who ran into the buildings and didn't come back out.
And Chief Gallagher says there were lessons learned, but they were hard ones.
The one thing that I will tell all my colleagues in law enforcement, that if that taught us anything, it taught us to always be prepared for the unexpected.
Shelby Kapp, News 22.
Well, the heat here in Las Cruces doesn't seem to be going anywhere.
No, and you know what? I'm ready for the fall temperatures. Vicki is next with your first look at weather.
Thanks, Stephanie. This is Victoria Valderrama taking a first look at your current conditions. Right now in Las Cruces, we're looking at mostly sunny skies with a temperature of 88 degrees. Winds are coming from the south at 7 miles per hour. Humidity is at 25%. Our dew point is at a low 49 degrees and our barometer reads at 29.83 inches. Today we had a high of 92 degrees and we woke up to a low of 65 degrees, so the average for today is 78 degrees. Traveling back in time, in 1983 we had an all-time high of 97 degrees, and a few years later in 1989 we had an all-time low of 53 degrees. We had no rain today, so our yearly rainfall stays at 3.96 inches. Now that's all I have for you now, but stay tuned for your national forecast. Back to the desk for more news.
Doña Ana County now has a new county clerk. Former NMSU student regent Amanda Lopez Askin. The Doña Ana County Commission gathered to hear 14 different applicants speak on why they thought they should be chosen as a new county clerk. Askin was nominated 2 different times until she was accepted by a 3-2 vote. She will be replacing former county clerk Scott Crawling, who resigned last week. Crawling resigned while he was under investigation for having an affair with his chief deputy and creating a hostile work environment. Askin will serve out the rest of Crawling's term until the end of 2020 and will be eligible for re-election at that time.
People in the borderland are riding the bus more than ever before. The South Central Regional Transit District says residents made more than 3,300 bus trips in August. The company offers trips in Las Cruces, El Paso, Sunland Park, Chaparral, and Anthony. They also said they've booked nearly 30,000 trips for the year. NMSU students rode the buses more. They say students made more than 1,200 trips between the NMSU and DACC campuses. Stampede Meat is bringing jobs to southern New Mexico. Stampede Meat is a meat production and processing company. The state of New Mexico offered the company a $3 million incentive to move their company to southern New Mexico. Texas, Oklahoma, and Idaho are also applied for Stampede businesses, but the company chose a location in Santa Teresa. If everything goes according to plan, the company will bring 1,300 jobs to the region.
The city of Las Cruces is trying to become more attractive for filmmakers. The city proposed a plan to offer more incentives for people to make their movies here. This includes paying 10% of qualified expenses if the company spends more than $100,000 here. The city is doing this after less than 2% of New Mexico productions were filmed in Las Cruces between 2002 and 2017. State Senator Jeff Steinborn says this will put the city on the radar for productions from all over the country. The ongoing drought in New Mexico is taking a toll on farmers. Local farmers are struggling to afford more water.
And they could make it hard for them to stay in business. News 22's Amanda Adame has more.
Driving down Mesilla Valley and seeing acres of green may be deceiving. In reality, those green patches didn't come easy with this year's drought. One New Mexico State professor who is a state climatologist knows all about the drought and why it's happening.
Mesilla Valley, for agriculture, we rely on the Rio Grande. So if we don't have the water coming in from Colorado, the snowpack where it starts.
The U.S. Drought Portal calculated this year only 4% of the Elephant Butte Reservoir was filled due to a dry winter.
Las Cruces is used to clear skies, sunny days, and occasionally a thunderstorm that lasts 10 to 15 minutes. As you can see, the sun is already peeking out, not nearly enough to make up for the lack of rain this past year.
And Jim Hill sees the result.
Grow is not as much, usually not as good, and costs us a whole lot more money because we have to buy our river water and then we have to pump because we don't have the river water to farm with today. It has a real negative effect.
And that higher expense makes it even harder to make profit.
A red pump engine, diesel engine that sits there with the pipes and everything coming out of it, that's what we pump water.
But he says he has no choice if he wants to keep farming. He just hopes the drought will break and things get back to normal. But Dave Dubois doesn't expect that will happen. For News 22, I'm Amanda Adame.
Meanwhile, New Mexico Senator Tom Udall is outraged by the Trump administration's plan to weaken oil gas emission limits and expand gas collection. Udall released a statement saying that weakening these limits will increase pollution and endanger the health of surrounding neighborhoods. This is the administration's second attempt to weaken the emissions of limits of oil and gas. New Mexico's two gubernatorial candidates are now campaigning more than ever, and they have lots of money to do it. Republican Steve Pearce and Democrat Michelle Lujan Grisham have each increased fundraising in recent months. Reports show that Grisham's campaign has fundraised around $1.9 million. Pearce's campaign is reporting around $750,000. The election is less than 60 days away.
Some of the money going to Michelle Lujan Grisham is coming from those who want to legalize recreational marijuana. Lujan Grisham is in favor for recreational use in contrast to current Governor Susana Martinez. Lujan Grisham will be collecting campaign cash from cannabis companies in the countdown to the November election. There are many contributors to the campaign. Since July, they've donated $20,000 to her campaign.
And stay tuned, Vicky will be next with your national forecast.
And later, tragedy has occurred following the Greyhound bus crash. More on that when News 22 continues.
At a recent KRWG coffee visit, we talked with KRWG fans about why they value public media.
I enjoy being so informed that I can be on par with my most intelligent relatives.
I love to listen to All Things Considered and wait, don't tell me. It's so much fun.
Because it's worth 10 times the value of how I support it.
Become a member online at krwg.org or call 1-888-922-5794. Thank you.
I want young adults to know that the world is a much bigger place than just the spot that they are occupying at this time. And PBS presents that in a very positive manner. I have left my PBS station a gift in my will. I want to be certain the programs presented by PBS are carried forward to future generations.
Welcome back. You're watching News 22 Tuesday,
where news matters. September is not only the beginning of fall, it's also Suicide Awareness Month. The Las Cruces community came together this past weekend to spread awareness and support to those who have felt the effects of suicide. People of all ages gathered at the Out of the Darkness walk on Saturday, where everyone walked in solidarity and wore dark blue beads, a significant color to suicide awareness. People were there for different reasons, including a military veteran who was there to pay tribute to fellow veterans who have suffered from suicide. This is the first year that Las Cruces has held an event like this and continue to do it annually. A New Mexico couple is mourning the death of one of their twin babies. On August 30th, Christy Westerdale, her husband, and their 4-year-old daughter were traveling on a Greyhound bus between Gallup and Grants. A semi-truck collided with the bus, killing 9 people. Christy was 7 months pregnant and delivered her babies prematurely. The baby girl died over the weekend. The baby boy and the mother are in the UNM Children's Hospital. A GoFundMe page has been made to cover funeral costs.
There is disturbing news tonight from an Albuquerque spa. State health officials are urging those who visited VIP Spa to get tested for HIV, specifically those who have received a vampire facial. The procedure involves drawing a patient's blood and re-injecting some of the components of it back into the face. The state health department found the practices at the spa could spread blood-borne diseases such as HIV and hepatitis B and C. VIP Spa has been shut down for now. Many were informed by VIP Spa and get themselves checked by a medical professional.
Whether it be a Category 4 hurricane or another emergency, you'll fare best if you've got the basic preparedness down.
How much food do you need? Do you have all your medicines packed? And what important documents should you bring? Reed Binion has tips for preparing in today's Health Minute.
With the Atlantic hurricane season hitting its peak this week and Florence zeroing in on the East Coast, there's no time like the present to make sure you're prepared for a hurricane or another emergency event. According to the CDC, the best thing to do is start with the basics. Make sure you have enough water and non-perishable food for at least 72 hours. Also, get prescription medications to last 7 to 10 days. Along with medicines, you'll want to make sure you have all the medical equipment you need and that it's in working order. Don't forget to include a fully stocked first aid kit as well. Pet supplies and specific items for babies should also be in your kit if needed. Make sure your family is trained and is comfortable performing CPR. Everyone old enough should also be familiar with how to operate and maintain any medical equipment used by family members. Finally, copies of all important medical documents, including health records, immunizations, insurance cards, and doctor contacts, should be stored in a waterproof container and kept with emergency supplies. For today's Health Minute, I'm Mike V. Hill.
If you're looking for the best green chili cheeseburger, you don't have to go far to find it. The Oso Grill Burger Restaurant took home the award for the best green chili cheeseburger. Oso also took home the People's Choice Award. Oso is located in the small southern town of Capitan, New Mexico. 10 restaurants competed in the burger battle. Sparky's, the famous burger restaurant in Hatch, also competed.
So it looks like the hurricane in the east is growing day by day.
I know, and Vicky is next with the weather.gov national forecast on more.
So, as Amanda Vama reported, here at home we have a drought problem, but people in the southeast are experiencing a much bigger problem. Hurricane Florence, a Category 4 hurricane, it's making its way to the Carolinas and Virginia. Now, the first strike on the Carolinas will occur late Thursday into Friday. And in my next map, many people have been evacuated and alerts are in effect. And looking at this map, this purple shaded area, this is a hurricane warning, and it's the most severe because they'll be experiencing 74-mile-per-hour winds, and that's affecting places like Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, and Cape Hatteras. And this orange shaded area, that is a hurricane watch, and that's affecting places like Charleston. And of course, the yellow shaded area, that is a tropical storm warning, and that's affecting Norfolk. So if you have any family out there, please make sure they're safe and sound from those strong winds, and make sure they have food, water, and all the medical supplies they need. But in my next map, looking at the entire country tonight, Houston, we're looking at rain at 74 degrees. New Orleans, thunderstorms at 75 degrees. We have Atlanta at 70 degrees. Dallas, cloudy skies, 71 degrees. Closer to home, Albuquerque at 62 degrees. El Paso at 68 degrees. And Phoenix at a warm 81 degrees. That's all I have for you now, but I'll be back with your local temperatures. Keep it here.
Fresh Air with Terry Gross, weekday mornings at 11 on 90.7 FM and streaming live on KRWG.org.
In the hunting grounds of a great chateau, strong stags still run the gauntlet. But this tour of France goes farther. In its pursuit of life's finer things, France is embracing a return to the wild.
Wednesday at 7 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
On Masterpiece.
This is Petronella. She is the Señor's new wife.
Wedding gift for you. Where did you get these?
I'm in a tryst. This is witchcraft. Do you swear never to speak of this to a soul?
Don't play with fire, Petronella, or you'll get burned along with the rest of us.
The Miniaturist. On Masterpiece.
Thursday at 8 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Welcome back to News 22 Tuesday. Now looking at current temperatures across New Mexico. Farmington, we're looking at 84 degrees. Santa Fe at 76 degrees. Clovis at 77 degrees. Roswell, we're at 83 degrees. Las Cruces right now we're at 88 degrees. And Deming at 89 degrees. Tomorrow across New Mexico, Farmington is looking at 89 degrees. Albuquerque at 89. Socorro at 92 degrees. Roswell at 91 degrees. Las Cruces tomorrow will be at 95 degrees. And Deming also at 95 degrees. In our neighboring cities, Alamogordo tonight we have partly cloudy skies with a low of 62. Tomorrow a high of 92. In TRC tonight, also partly cloudy skies with a low of 65, and tomorrow a high of 95. And in Silver City tonight, cloudy skies with a low of 58, and tomorrow a high of 86. And in the city of the Crosses tonight, we'll be having partly cloudy skies with a low of 65, and tomorrow it'll be pretty warm with a high of 95. That's all I have for your local temperatures, but don't go anywhere yet. Victoria will be back with all your sports action.
NMSU, for the 6th time in 7 years, is a top-tier university. That's according to the U.S. News and World Report Best Colleges and Universities of 2019. New Mexico came in at 221 overall and 126th best public schools. The list is based upon faculty resources, expert opinion, financial resources, and student excellence. Eastern New Mexico enrollment numbers, according to ENMU, Eastern New Mexico University is reporting near record-breaking enrollment numbers. According to ENMU, the university reported numbers of just over 6,000 students. The university is also reporting a record undergraduate class around 4,700 students. The university's president attributes the success to the school's family-like atmosphere. The annual Pete Domenici Public Policy Conference is tomorrow.
During the two-day event, talk will center on national defense, immigration, and the 2018 elections. Seating is still available. Fees for the conference are $75. It is free for NMSU students. The conference is named after Pete Domenici, who served as a New Mexico State Senator for 36 years. He died during the last year's Domenici conference. A Dallas police officer is facing charges after going his apartment and shooting them.
She says she mistook his apartment for hers. That's the first story in today's Southwest Minute.
Dallas police officer Amber Geiger was off duty when she says she mistakenly entered her neighbor's apartment and shot Botham John. Geiger says the door was open, she went inside and shot the man she thought was a burglar. Geiger is charged with manslaughter, but that charge could be upgraded. Interstate 17 in Phoenix was blocked for a while yesterday when a truck carrying beer kegs overturned. An SUV involved in the crash came to rest on its side on the shoulder of the road. One man received minor injuries. Fires are still burning in California. Authorities say the so-called Irving fire in Marin County is 25% contained. No buildings have been damaged, but an elementary school was closed and several neighborhoods were ordered evacuated. I'm Kelly Garcia Moreno with the Southwest Minute.
It was a huge controversy this past weekend at the U.S. Open.
Yeah, and Victoria Castro is next with sports.
Thanks, Stephanie. Coming up in sports, find out how the women's volleyball team did this weekend. We'll be right back. News 22 Sports is next.
My name is Pedro Guerrero, and I'm a photographer.
Discover the life and times of Mexican-American photographer Pedro Y. Guerrero, whose camera gave us pictures of architecture and art.
It's not the camera, it's the man.
And the giants who created them.
I photographed Frank Lloyd Wright, Alexander Calder, Louise Devilson.
Wonderful, iconic images.
Take a photographer's journey with Pedro Y. Guerrero, an American Masters Vocis special.
Friday at 9:30 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
Coming up on Austin City Limits.
I could call you Betty, Betty when you call me, you can call me out. Goodbye to Rosie, the queen of Corona. I'll see you, me and Julio down by the schoolyard. See you, me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
Saturday at 9 p.m. on KRWG Public Media.
22 Sports.
Welcome back. I'm Victoria Castro, and let's talk sports. The Lady Aggie volleyball team is looking to continue their 6-game winning streak. The Aggies defeated both Montana and Arizona in 5 sets in the Spring Hill Suites Invitational. After 2 big wins, the Aggies went on to beat I-10 rival UTEP in just 3 sets. The Aggies will travel to Tucson to compete in the Wildcat Classic September 15th through the 16th. The Aggie football team looks to overcome a 13-6 blowout against Utah State. Head coach Doug Martin believes with many injuries on defense, the team needs to improve moving forward. The Aggies look to bounce back with UNM this Saturday. The Battle of I-25 is set for 6 p.m. at the Aggie Memorial Stadium. The Lady Agger soccer team is looking towards the future after a thrilling loss. The Aggies lost 3-2 going into double overtime with Boise State. The Aggies scored 2 goals late in the game. The first goal was made by Katie Martinez, and the second was scored by Eileen Galicia. Head coach Rob Bartz believes the team is creating great opportunities. The Aggies are traveling to Albuquerque to face UNM this Friday and are looking for a win. Another week of high school football comes to an end. Mayfield High defeated West Mesa 17-7 for their homecoming game. Las Cruces High was defeated by La Cueva on Friday 14-3. On Saturday, Centennial defeated Manzano 42-9, and Oñate lost to Volcano Vista 56-14. High school football will pick back up on Thursday. After an emotional loss in the U.S. Open, Serena Williams speaks out about women's rights.
And for all kinds of stuff, and for me to say thief and for him to take a game, it made me feel like it was a sexist remark. I mean, like, how he's never took a game from a man because they said thief. I'm here fighting for women's rights and for women's...
Williams was fined $10,000 for verbal abuse, $4,000 for being warned for coaching, and $3,000 for breaking her racket. Williams lost the match 6-2 and 6-4 against Naomi Osaka. And that's all for sports tonight. Join us for more sports action tomorrow. Still ahead on News 22, Vicky will be back to take a look at your 5-day forecast. But first, the myth, the man, the legend was made to love the prizes he took home. More on that when News 22 continues.
Next time on A Chef's Life.
I learned this from Lily, dicing in my hand.
So today is Chef and the Farmer's 10-year anniversary.
We've got a good group coming in the door.
Pretty close.
Saturday morning at 10 on KRWG Public Media.
Hey crew, are you feeling curious?
Yeah!
Have you ever wondered about pulleys?
Yeah!
Well, if you're feeling curious and have ever wondered about pulleys, tune in to Curious Crew. And remember, stay curious!
Saturday morning at 8 on KRWG Public Media.
Let's take a look at our top stories. Today was a 17-year anniversary of 9/11. Nearly 3,000 people died in the attacks. Today, there were events on the NMSU Horseshoe to mark the event. Doña Ana County now has a county clerk. Their week-long search for Scott Carling's replacement ended today with the appointment of Amanda Lopez Askin. Askin is a graduate of NMSU and Oñate High School. She was also a former NMSU regent. And one of the twins who was born premature as a result of a bus crash has died. The twins and their families had been at UNM Children's Hospital in New Mexico.
John Legend is living up to his name. He is now the first African American to take home an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony. The name of all these awards mashed is called EGOT. Legend earned EGOT status by winning a Creative Arts Emmy Award at Sunday's ceremony in Los Angeles. Only 12 people reached EGOT status. Legend is one of the youngest EGOT winners.
A legend he sure is.
Yeah, he deserved
That's
those.
right.
And Vicky, what's the next 5 days looking like?
So the next 5 days, we're looking at really good temperatures. Tomorrow we'll have a high of 92 degrees, and throughout the week we'll be, in the mid 80s to high 90s. But don't take out those coats yet because summer doesn't end until September 21st.
And don't forget, you can catch all of today's aired stories and past newscasts on our YouTube page at youtube.com/KRWG News 22.
And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat for show updates and the latest on what the News 22 team is up to.
Good night.
That's all. Good night.
This news brief in Español is brought to you by Noticias 22, Spanish language news for southern New Mexico and West Texas. Noticias 22.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Y bienvenidos a este breve informativo de Noticias 22. Los saluda con mucho gusto Raquel López. La ciudad de Las Cruces y la Universidad Estatal de Nuevo México conmemoraron el 17 aniversario del 11 de septiembre con una ceremonia patriota. La ceremonia comenzó esta mañana en el Parque Horseshoe cerca de Hadley Hall en el campus de NMSU. El Departamento de Policía y Bomberos de Las Cruces, también todos los departamentos de policía, bomberos, veteranos y militares de NMSU estuvieron ahí para apoyar este día tan especial. La policía arrestó a un hombre sospechoso de la muerte de una niña de 2 años que pasó el jueves por la noche. Lalo Anthony Castrillo, 5, de 23 años, es acusado de un cargo de abuso infantil intencional que ocasionó la muerte de la pequeña. Poco después de las 3 de la mañana, la policía de Las Cruces fue enviada al informe de una niña que no respiraba en el departamento de Castrillo. Los investigadores descubrieron que la madre de la niña fue a trabajar poco antes de las 10 de la noche y dejó al cuidado de la pequeña a Castrillo. Los investigadores descubrieron que la niña tenía hematomas visibles en la cabeza, el mentón y ambos lados del torso. Una autopsia posterior reveló lesiones en el cerebro y en el cuerpo de la niña. Castrillo fue ingresado en el centro de detención del condado de Doña Ana sin derecho a fianza. Favor de seguirnos los jueves en nuestros noticieros largos a las 10 de la noche. Para Noticias 22.
Local support for a portion of today's programming is provided by Wells Fargo. Our support of Aggie students goes beyond just banking. By supporting News 22, we're giving back to the community. Wells Fargo. Together, we'll go far.